Stop what you're doing. They just dropped... yeah, they've updated the blog. I'm sure it's going to be a short update. You aren't allowed to read it now? No, we're going to read it. Okay, we're going to go through it. I don't know what it says. They did it like literally this second. Good luck. Let's just scroll straight into it. Okay, they're back from Chicago. They're alive. Good. To kick things off, we're over the moon with the initial reception and think we've had a solid foundation to build from. Oh, that might mean that we're keeping most of the rewards. We're optimistic that polling on a rewards offering can begin sooner rather than later to ensure a suite of uniques that you'll be happy to see in your name. Okay, this blog covers some thoughts and clarifications on the proposals we shared initially alongside a handful of brand new additions. Ooh. So we'll start by covering things you're already familiar with. Okay, here we go. Let's roll the dice. Say hi to YouTube, guys. Let mum know that you're here. And sign up for Right Click Examine. It's the latest and greatest old school RuneScape series. Follow on Kick at kick.com/Condor. 3 inches on the end of your cock. Let's go, boys. All right. Rondachi. This is the shield. Out of everything we shared, this is likely... this one likely had the most questions about how exactly it'll work and the way that makes sense. Okay, so people just aren't smart enough. So how will the shield bash work with weapons that have a special attack? Our intent here is to release something that feels easy fluid, so making improvements. Got a couple of options. Splitting the special attack orb makes sense. They do it with other shit. Adding a context-based second special attack bar or special attack orb when the Rondachi is equipped. I think everyone just assumed that. So, okay. We want to make sure the Rondachi feels easy and intuitive to use, as opposed to the current functionality of the Dragonfly shield we have to right-click use, which makes sense. How does flat armor work with magic or typeless damage? Flat armor currently doesn't interact with typeless or magic damage. For typeless damage, we're cautious about adding mitigation here since it... Well, they said that it was only going to work with melee and range anyway, didn't they? We're keen to keep flat armor specific to melee and range since it serves its useful balancing as a useful balancing lever for NPCs to help magic shine. That said, we know there are use cases here for chip heavy NPCs who switch styles and utilize magic frequently, for Olm and Verzik, for example. Okay. We think that it makes sense for a magical shield to be mitigating magic damage, so we will make this case. I'll make this case, okay, but we'll need to make some novel attributes like magic resistance on top of flat armor. Time to panic by Mercury's treads. What the fuck are Mercury's treads? Never heard of that. Okay, so they're going to make it apply to magic. That's pretty cool. Can I use Shield Bash and grant it more special attack instantaneous as it stands? Yes. This sounds like it might be overly strong in PvP. Then it's possible for us to have these share a cooldown or add a short delay between using back-to-back instant attacks, at least in PvP if it is too damaging. Keep it in fucking PvM. How Shield Bash accuracy rolled? We could have been clearer. Okay, so Shield Bash rolls on crush accuracy. Inquisitors, panic by Inquisitors. Now, do it. Okay. Not including bonuses from your equipped weapon against your target crush defense. So, Inquisitors, big. Shield Bash gains +6 accuracy per stack, meaning that 20 stacks should be plus 120 plus crush accuracy. Then with Inquisitors, panic buy, please. I need to make my money back, please. Panic buy. Alright, beyond specific UX questions, we saw a lot of chatter around the offensive stat line for the Rondachi that's some arguments that it was stepping too close to the Event Defender offensively, which led to some concern that Theatre of Blood's rewards offerings would be considerably devalued, particularly when coupled with the Breaker absorbing all of the Scythe of the Vitura's Crush use cases and Slash, unless they've changed it this blog. I think it's a fair point. We'd like to address it, but we're not dead set on a specific approach. So some ideas that they're currently floating are to bump the Rondachi's strength bonus down, consider increasing the damage of the Shield Bash so it leans more heavily into what makes it unique. Remove all strength bonus from the Rondachi and attach the Avernic Defender, perhaps by breaking it down into Avernic studs to bring the strength bonus back to +8. This means that even with the Rondachi is eating into the Avernic use cases, it shouldn't have an overtly detrimental effect on how worthwhile the drop is. We're not the biggest fans of using raid rewards as attachments, but this one feels like it could make sense in world than most. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I don't mind that because that means you can still have two. You can get the Avernic Defender, then your dupe Avernic. So you can at least use one dupe for that shield. That's not bad. That's not a bad. I don't mind that. That's not the worst suggestion. It gives the Avernic Defender some sort of love, you know. That's not bad. The Rondachi seem to go down quite well on the whole. With some discussion around a relatively limited number of places where you use one-handed weapons. We agree that there are a limited number of use cases here, but think that's a problem that goes beyond the Rondachi, since the easiest way to make More of the use cases is to add more smaller enemies where the scythe doesn't shine but will likely be obliterated by the Soropa axe instead. In general, we feel like you want to use two cool two-handed weapons and fight larger bosses and NPCs, but we think there'll be avenues with Bane weaponry to make things like this shine, since the likes of Demon Bane and Dragon Bane tend to be one-handed options. Makes sense. I like that. Okay, so for those that don't understand, this bit here is basically they get rid of the strength bonus on the Rundachi, so it doesn't have any strength bonuses, but if you get an Avernic Defender, you can break it down, put it on the shield, and it gets that +8 strength bonus, because people were worried that if you had the shield, why would you use the Defender? But if you combine it with the Defender, people will feel less like it's stepping on the Defender toes, and that way it keeps Theatre of Blood's loot pool consistent. It keeps it active. I'd be down for combining the shield and defender, yes, and that doesn't mean that still means that the defender is more accurate than the Radachi still. So you will kind of want to have both. You should allow all defenders. Maybe why not? Maybe why not force them to go up from bronze to Avernic? Maybe you could do Avernic or Dragon at least. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I don't see why not, but it'd be good for Avernics because it keeps it means people will still go for Avernic defenders. That's the main thing. Upgrade scape, I think. Well, yes, but look, but I think the better way to look at it is not it's upgrade scape, and look at it more that like it's a reason to get grind an Avernic defender still. Because if this came out without that change, people won't grind Avernic defenders. They'll just grind. They'll just grind the Rendachi, right? It's a side grade, kind of. In a way. Thank you, I'm Shadow, for the 35 months. Appreciate that, dude. Alright, the Ascension crossbows. Of all rewards we shared, these were the ones with the most we most expect you to see and go, that's cool, ship it. And they seem to go down the smooth. Yeah, these were great. The most prevalent discussion point here was around the limited number of bolt effects that we proposed in our initial offering, since we said that we'd limit it to only regular, diamond, and onyx. We think the sensible thing to do right now is to stick to this decision rather than opening up the whole other can of worms by rebalancing the bolt effect across the board. I agree. People don't really bolt, so they're coping. I feel that the approach that we're taking of less now and more later means that these are sufficiently future-proof for a rework of bolt effects down the line, which is something that we're keen on doing. So a lot of people didn't understand this when they announced this. Basically, they're not adding all the bolt effects now. They will down the line, or they can down the line, but on release, they only want to have Diamond, Onyx, and Regular. And people were sad because they're like, what about Ruby? I don't think having 2-tick Ruby bolts is a fucking smart idea. So, yes, this is smart. This is a very good thing for them to be doing. Do it slowly and do it right. This option also means we could make asymmetric bolt effects which might behave a little differently from their standard counterparts if it felt appropriate, which might open up more cool reward space in the future. Makes sense. While we're talking about bolts, there was a lot of discussion around the upkeep for these and the availability of the Ascension shards required to make the bolts themselves. Since we also said they'd likely be required to charge the breaker, our hope here is that we just provide enough so that you never feel like you're having to slog through a massive grind for an hour of crossbow usage, similar to obtaining more than enough vials of blood for the scythe usage if you go on rate for one. We think we've had a much better track record with charged items and their respective resources in recent years, and hope this should be no different. Additionally, we'd like to add an AFK style way to obtain these, similar to the Ancient Essence and Demon Tears. Makes perfect sense. Ideally, it's something you can do in your downtime in the lobby area without hefty inventory requirements, meaning you can stock. Yep, perfect. Makes no shit. One quick final point is regarding questions around whether there'll be 2-tick attack speed reduced to 3-tick in PvP. Told you, Jagex fucking listen to me. They're here. They fucking pay attention. Similar to the blowpipe, in this case, we think the answer has to be yes. They will pack a hefty punch in PvP, but will be utterly broken if they retain their normal speed. We think that since there's some precedent here already, that we'd rather just live with the inconsistency to ensure the Ascension crossbow remains powerful, simple to understand, easy to use in the wider game. Makes sense. So, yeah, they're going to be 3-tick in PvP. They have to be. If they're 2-tick, it's fucking over, dude. It is over. Alright, now for this big... This is the, 3-tick in PvP, but 2-tick in everywhere else, PvM. Perfect. Now we've got this... The big dog. Considering this being the raid's mega rare, this is the Zuck Cock. And this thing we are most scared of, and the thing we were most scared of, we felt like this weapon's fantasy sat really well with you, and we think that with some small tweaking we can get it in a really solid position. The elephant in the room here is that our initial proposal had the breaker in too solid a position, as we saw calcs, which is short for calculator or calculation broke. This is chat GPT shit. Coming through that resulted in the breaker beating the scythe against bosses you typically use slash against, which isn't our initial intent. As such, we're toning down the damage rolling mechanic to put the breaker into a place where it still excels in its crush niche, but doesn't outperform the scythe against slash weak bosses. We've been discussing this idea internally, then saw it suggested by a number of smart players out in the community, so think this should strike the right balance. Damage no longer re-rolls for every defense value higher than crush. Instead, damage will roll once by default, then an additional 2 times for every melee defense value higher than crush. This means that the NPC who is the weakest to crush will roll damage 5 times. The damage bonus scaling with NPC save has been reduced from 25-50 to 20 and 40%. Instead, damage will roll once by default, and then an additional 2 times for every melee defense value higher than crush. What was it before? Before it rerolls for every defense value higher than crush. Okay, so it'll only roll a max of 5 times, and it will pick the highest damage. Okay, so it ignores mage and range. Okay, yeah, +2 stab, +2 slash, yeah. And it will take the highest damage. And what's the damage bonus again? I forget the damage bonus. Damage bonus scaling with NPC size. So if it's a small NPC, it's only going to do 20% damage, right? If crush is lowest defense, it's going to roll 5 times, set the highest one instead of 7. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Damage will roll once by default, then an additional 2 times. Yeah, okay. So if slash is better, but stab is worse, then it'll only roll 3 times. Okay. So it just pulls back the potential high hit damage. Okay? But same thing, but doesn't get the free roll on range mage. Yeah. Yes, you're right. So it'll okay. So its potential higher hit is lower. Okay, yeah, fair enough. And they're reducing the size. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I fully understand the math there. It makes sense. Is it not worth making Seeker arrows until tomorrow's update? Don't make Seeker arrows until tomorrow. No. This makes the breaker much easier to understand and balance around, since the previous iteration meant the NPCs with decent range defense effectively guaranteed a minimum of 4 damage rolls for free, before factoring in anything else. This also means that for content where the defense stat priority took slash crush stab, the scythe should confidently outperform the breaker. Just like the Randachi, we had some usability questions. Okay, so is the breaker range 3 tiles? No, it's always melee range, but it hits depending on how far the target back is. Okay, that means you can't use it on Doom out of the Doom's melee range. And you can't use it on flying creatures either. If you're in range to attack, then it will hit the targets that are 2 tiles behind the first. In this sense, it's more akin to the scythe that goes long ways rather than the Noxious Habit, so you can't hit Zora. You'll be dragged into melee range correctly when using the Berserker rather than winding up a distance away. How does the breaker interact with multiple targets? The breaker can hit up to 3 targets at once with no damage bonus applied. It will only hit multiple targets if there isn't a 3x3 or larger enemy present. These targets can be stacked in a line of 3 or in the same tile or any other configuration, so as long as they're along the same line. Cool. Beyond the gameplay implications, we saw a lot of chatter about the theming here. We spoke about this in the handful of replies, but to reiterate, the Fractured Archives is a collection of Guthic's most prized artifacts from a variety of factions and cultures across Gielinor. The lore hounds among you might know that the Tazar were inhabitants of Gielinor before Guthic's arrival, which may shed some doubt on whether or not the breaker was made to be used by the Tazar or to be used against the Tazar, but that's something for you to ascertain once you dive deeper into the archives. Okay, so there might be Tazar creatures in the archives. What's changing to Maggot King? We'll find out in just a moment. Scroll slow and dyslexic? Just fucking listen to me speak, mate. I know it's hard, but I'm gay. On top of that, we saw some discussion around how the thrust attack was crushing enemies. Oh, God. Try fucking stab someone with a baseball bat and tell me it doesn't crush. We lost a note from the concept art where we took together that made clear that the breaker's chain is not normal chain. Instead, new links are forged as the chain thrusts forward, using molten magic to slam the breaker through tissue, hide, rock, or whatever else stands in your way. Once your opponent's been suitably obliterated, the same magic used to forge new links will retract the chain, meaning you can save your energy for flexing your newfound mega rare rather than tiring yourself. Okay, fine. The thrust effect, yeah. Fucking stab someone with a baseball bat, tell me it doesn't crush. I think that it looks like they're sticking with this as well. Cool. I mean, as long as the counts work out, it'll be a little more balanced. I'm sure the nerds will figure it out in a minute. Now, the hybrid armor. Hybrid's the spicy one, boys. I don't know how I feel about this hybrid armor. Let's have a look. Saving the spiciest for last, let's chat about the most contentious part of our initial proposal. We went into our first outing expecting that this would be the most divisive for all the reasons you pointed out. Thank you, Gilly, for the 14 months on YouTube. I appreciate that. You're a legend. Thank you. Currently, the Fractured Archive is billed as Old School's toughest raid yet, which is a title that we really hope it lives up to. With that in mind, many players argued that endgame players already sporting best in slot armor had no reason to use this in any established metas, unless more mage tank methods sprung up for low effort, high output boss killing. Which isn't something we're looking to introduce on a whim. Maggot King, that's about it. On the flip side, others argue that it's pretty close to the likes of Oathplate and Virtus offensively, while also sporting an incredible defensive stat line and some prayer bonus to boot. Meaning players without best in slot already would likely try to grab this set, absorb a huge chunk of melee and mage gear progression. As it stands, this armor set feels like it's not good enough for players at the top end, while also being too good for players still progressing on the gear journey. To make this set healthy, we'd likely need to tone it down a little more, which would further weaken its position for endgame players. For these reasons, we're opting to not move forward with the hybrid armor from the Fractured Archives, but will instead explore future sources where we could tone this down and offer it from content that makes sense for armor at an appropriate tower level. We saw a lot of love for the visuals here, and would love to find a way to introduce them in the future. Sure, naturally this leaves us in a position where we've only got 3 tradable rewards on offer, so we have some more space to fill. We saw a lot of discourse around the volume of rewards on offer, and how 6 felt like too few, but our hope here is to release with a set of uniques where everything feels desirable, and there are ideally no drops that feel like a dud. We'd rather ship with 5 rewards that you're excited to see than 3 rewards that you're excited to see and 4 rewards that make your eyes roll. Okay, make you roll your eyes. Alright. Have they missed anything yet? No. Okay. Alright. Okay. Let's... I'm just scared to scroll down because I don't know what they're going to have. Let's see what they're going to do. It's going to be an armor set. Good luck. New proposal. The Gatekeeper's Cane Magic DPS spec weapon. Bringing the Infernal Energy, the Gatekeeper's Cane is a damage-focused special attack option for Magic with a twist. Oh, okay. Magic as a style historically lacks any impactful DPS specs. The volatile Nightmare Staff enjoys some niche usage in PvP but lacks the accuracy to really shine in PvM settings. Also is 55% spec, which is really awkward. Instead, the majority of usable Magic special attacks focus on stat reduction. To fill the gap, we set out to make something that can compete with Dragon Claws and Zarek Crossbow with a handful of best in slot use cases. Some use cases where it out-competes one, but not the other, and a little extra flair. Okay, we settled on the Gatekeeper's Cane, a new powered staff. Here's how it works. Stat-wise, the Gatekeeper's Cane is identical to the Eye of Ike, including a 3-tick attack rate, but a lower base max hit of 18 compared to the Eye's 21. In effect, this means plus 30 magic accuracy and some flavorful defense bonuses with no inherent magic damage percentage. Its special attack costs 50% energy to fire off a hit with 100% increased accuracy and 50% increased damage. If the initial hit connects and deals damage, you'll be imbued with energy from Infernus itself, gaining a powerful buff. While buffed, your next 3 attacks with the Gatekeeper's Cane also have 100% increased accuracy and 50% increased damage, and a faster attack rate hitting every 2 ticks. Oh shit, okay. Back the fuck up. So basically, if it hits on the first hit, you basically... Okay, cool. In effect, the DPS portion of the special attack isn't a single hard-hitting attack, but an empowering yourself with the demonic energy to dish out rapid-fire hits afterwards. That makes this particularly interesting. What makes it particularly interesting is that because the damage is dealt by buffing you rather than just hitting an enemy, you can spread this damage across targets rather than needing to put all your eggs in one basket. That's kind of big. Spec should be 25-50-60 to slow down the 50-50 spec on some weapons, 100% only. Why 65% spec? Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Gatekeeper's Cane should shine versus enemies where Dragon Claw's accuracy falls short or their hit points are too low to let the Zarek Crossbow shine, for example. Some examples of these places would be could be best in the slot would be Calvite Queen, Gobble's Dungeon Generals, Dagonoth Rex, Zora, Whisperer, On's Right Hand, a handful more. This would be great on the Nightmare. What's it called? The Nightmare fucking pillars, and on Yama as well. Also really easy to use, for us to make the special attack shine if we feel it's falling too far out of favor, since it's simple to balance around. Even in places where the cane doesn't win out over both of these options, there are plenty where it'll be up next, your next best option. Yeah, this would be big on like Akka and shit too. You just fucking fire it at Akka, dude. We'll show you find cool ways to utilize the ability. If the damage is clean, like if it's if you can put out over best in slot mage gear, if you can put over 100 damage out in one special attack, which means in 4 attacks your minimum hit is going to be over 25, which it should be. Over 30 even, which it should be. It's better than a Zarek crossbow, right? On places like Akka, it's just you need to make sure you hit and hit hard, rather than like guaranteeing a Ruby Bolt spec. Kind of fucks with it. It should output more damage than that. 27 max hit during rage, but 2 tick. Is that with all the magic damage included? 18 max hit plus 50%, but that, and then you've got like once you've got all your magic damage buffs too with like occult and stuff, it'll include that, right? Your max is gonna be like fucking 40 or something, isn't it? It's gonna whatever the IX max hit is, take 3 effectively. So you're probably gonna, unless my math is wrong, I'm just doing this on the spot very quickly. You could probably be putting out 130 damage, 140 damage plus in one special attack if you max hit 4 times in a row. Provided the first one lands. That's kind of fucked. Yeah. Okay, that's kind of fucking... I mean, I fuck with that, dude. You won't catch me saying no. So, yeah, pretty sure you can hit 50s with I. Yeah, so you're probably looking at 160 damage then. That's pretty big. Alright, new proposal, Zeal, party upgrade. For years we've heard calls for Turmoil to make its way to old school. If you're new around here, Turmoil is a high-level ancient curse focused on boosting your melee stats and draining your opponents that was added to RuneScape. Digging into these requests throughout the years paints a more accurate picture of a desire for something that isn't exactly Turmoil, but more focused on an unlockable upgrade to Piety, while Mage and Range require raid rewards. To reach their fullest potential, your best option for melee comes from a quest. In the interest of adding some objective best in slot upgrades to a raid that's targeting players at the top end, we'd like to propose Zeal. Zeal is Piety override, similar to Deadeye and Mystic Vigor, overriding Eagle Eye and Mystic Might, requiring 84 prayer to unlock. Okay. What's Augury? 77? Alright. To increase your strength by 28%, attack by 25, defense by 25. Since we're overriding Piety here... Hold on, whoa. 25, 23, 20. Instead it's going to be 28. You're going to get a 5% strength increase. 5% attack increase and a 2% defense isn't going to increase. Okay, so defense stays the same. Okay, cool. Alright. Deal would sport the same drain rate, meaning it's just objective upgrade. So it's just straight up 5% attack and strength buff. Cool. Not bad. So it's like 2 ticks 70s. On this, sorry, back to the Gatekeeper's Cane quickly. Yeah, so you get 4 attacks. And you can use it on anything. It's not linked to the NPC, it's linked to you when you get the buff. So if you land the first special attack and you say your max hit's 47, you can then hit 47 at max hit 3 more times, 2 ticks between each attack. So you get 4, 3, 2, 5. So in 9 game ticks, you could put out 200 damage nearly. Surely they nerf that. That seems cooked. This is a straight up upgrade to melee, and it is a hefty one for a prayer that you'll have at all times. And in fact, this grants some extra accuracy and additional 6 strength levels for players with 99 strength using potions, making it a must-have. Since this is going to a level beyond existing prayer tiers, we're not expecting to make this the most common of the rewards, so seeing the necessary unlock item should be pretty exciting. We're not set on an implementation yet, but we're hoping to do something a little cooler than just reading a piece of paper in the bank, since unlocking Rig and Augury feels pretty unceremonious for how significant they are as upgrades. We appreciate that this isn't exactly the flashiest reward of all time, but think it makes sense for the Fractured Archive to be offering at least something that you'll want with you always, similar to unlocking Rigor and Augury or obtaining other ubiquitously strong items like Lightbearer. We can't imagine that this upgrade is one you'd like to leave at home. No, this is a big upgrading party. That's a wrap. Wow, so they're just ditching the whole armor set thing, hey? Wow. I just feel like they swept curses under the rug and said, man, I guess we'll add it here. I mean, this is barely a curse. This is just a party buff. Only 5 awards, it's kind of small. Wasn't there something else? Or was that it? For some reason I feel like there was a new stab weapon, but maybe it wasn't. Yeah, okay, wow. Rondachi, Ascension crossbows. I mean, look, I don't really. I mean, this sounds like it's going to be incredibly fucking strong. This mage weapon, then it's not going to. Unless my math is wrong, which I don't think it is, but I haven't done the math. I'm just having a look now. The Eye of Iac starts at 21. Its max hit with Imbued Heart is what, 33? Right? That's really visual. What's max mage strength here? I don't know. What the fuck's max mage strength? It's like fucking 50, isn't it? 40 something. Isn't it like 40? What's max mage strength? It's quite fucking high, isn't it? So, like, that's going to do a lot of damage. Max mage damage bonus is, I wish I'd just give you the number overall. Vernant Treads is 2. How do we not have this like a base number on the wiki? 22%? Bro, it's more than 22%. 100%. It's more than 22%. A Litmus Ward is 5. 25? No way. A Litmus Ward is 5. This staff won't add anything. Full Ancestral is 9, so it goes to 14. Right? God Cape goes to 16. Avonic Treads goes to 18. Occult goes to 23. Confliction Gauntlets takes it to 30. Am I missing anything else other than like a Slayer helmet? 30% without weapon? Yeah, so 30. Okay, so max hit's probably 42. So max hit's probably close to 39, maybe 38. Right? And then 38 times 4. Your max, you could potentially hit 152 damage over 9 game ticks with that new spec weapon. That's including with Augury. Magus Ring is 2, 32. True. Anything else? There's quite a lot of damage. I'm not complaining, I'm just saying, that's a lot. God damn. If you're on a Slayer task, it goes even higher because that goes to 47 effectively, right? Max hit goes up even higher. Ward, I added the ward, yeah. So, pretty fucking strong. I'm totally cool with this. I like the Mega Rare. I think it's going to be sick. I just hope they balance it right, obviously, so it doesn't kill the Scythe. Ascension Crossbows are like the best reward they've come up with for the entire thing. This is going to be huge. The Buckler will be cool. I just want to see how it goes. I might not even use it, but I fuck with the idea to add an Invernic Defender to give it the strength bonus. Fuck the Hybrid Armor. Old mate owes me a bond. Some cunt said they're bringing stab bonus. I said they're not. Hybrid Armor was barely stab gear, and they've scrapped it, so whoever the fuck you are, I don't remember your name, but you owe me a bond. Cheers. The cane's going to go off its tits, and the new prayer upgrade's pretty cool. Maybe they could add one more item somewhere. It does feel like they're kind of like dragging their feet a bit, but I mean, what's wrong with like a glove upgrade? Like Ferocious Gloves are kind of in the bin at this point. We're kind of waiting for something there. I don't know if that's worth looking at. Because there's no real strength upgrade here, so it's not like they don't have, I mean, other than the prayer, but it's not like they don't have room to kind of maybe look at upgrading the Ferocious Gloves or something, who knows. That sword on Wern's Crate looks good, it does, yeah. Overall, I'm pretty keen for it, I fuck with it.
This is the easiest room in the raid. It's quite simple.
We got a big boy. Look at him. God damn. Fuck me. Look at that boy.